a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
And thank you so much for spending some time with us here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We've got Andrew QB going to be on the program second half of the show, U.S. Commercial and Business Capital. Robert Paredes as well, Fluxx Funding, our mortgage expert contributor on the program today, as well as a couple of interesting stories. Get RFK on Tucker Carlson show. Great interview talking about the Capitol Police and 71 minutes that just kind of went. And where did the 71 minutes go? We're going to describe that to you. Also, regular rich are feeling poor. In quotation marks, I'm saying, what are the regular rich, right? So this is an interesting story that I pulled down off of LinkedIn. Interesting stuff there, as well as the latest stats. Robert and I are going to talk about the latest MLS stats here for Tampa Bay. This is covering, Tampa Bay, the Gulf Coast region of Florida, for the Mid-Florida Regional MLS. But yeah, we're going to jump into that, let you know what's going on in the market. And before we do, we always like to feature our real estate listings live on air. Part of our strategy helps our sellers sell faster for more money, maximum profit. If you're selling a property, you're leaving money on the table if you list with anyone else outside of the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. 13906 Bardmore Place. This is a beautiful property that we've got listed in Carrollwood. Townhouse in Carrollwood. Unit number B. This has a 2-car garage, 3 bedrooms, 2.5 bath, 2,100 square feet of space, hurricane impact windows, beautiful property. The kitchen's been completely remodeled. The entire place has been remodeled. Backsplash, stainless appliances, beautiful property at 13906 Bardmore Place, Unit B. You also have ripe banana and avocado trees that are bearing fruit right now. This is the time of year for that fruit. Also, we have another property listing here at 5146 Marine Parkway, commercial property for sale at Marine Parkway in Newport Richey. You're 1,000 feet from US 19, so you've got 50,000 vehicles a day passing by that location, that intersection at US 19. 5146 Marine Parkway. Exceptional storefront. You got a large window that invites natural light. Open and versatile floor plan. Owner occupies the space as a pool business. Strategically positioned where foot traffic is constant. Excellent accessibility. Check out all of our real estate properties at PlatinumCoastalElite.com. That's PlatinumCoastalElite.com.
Try that in a small town. See how far you make it down the road.
All right, Robert Paredes, Fluxx Funding. Welcome back, sir.
Hi, Brandon. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Hey, blessed and highly favored, and I like your shirt there, the logo. We have a loan for that.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm a mortgage broker, been doing it for about 25 years. So even if you have challenge credit or can't prove your income, you have enough money down, we can get that loan done for you.
Nice, yeah, lots of different options, and I think that's the advantage of going with someone like you. You're a broker, you have all these different relationships, so you're able to kind of say, hey, I've got a certain debt ratio or credit score or maybe an income, problem or not problem, but a challenge we call it, right?
Yeah.
And you're able to say, hey, I've got all these different lenders I can shop, find the best deal for you.
Yeah, exactly. As a matter of fact, we closed one about a month and a half ago, believe it or not. It's an FHA loan with a 506 credit score, put enough money down, and we got an approval and got that thing closed.
Nice, yeah. So the money down is just that eliminates the risk for the lender, right?
You're absolutely right. When it comes to lenders and banks, it's all about the risk factor they want to take in. So if you put enough money down, it's really not much of a risk. And if you foreclose, they'll sell it in the Tampa Bay market and actually make money. So they don't have any problem for you foreclosing. Of course, we don't want that to happen. So.
Yeah, speaking of that, inventory is still low. It's kind of an interesting market. There's a lot of different things at play. I want to start this conversation around the July stats coming out for the residential MLS stats. So a little bit of delay on these stats when they come out. So but here's what we got: new listings decreased by 7% month over month, but are down 23% when compared to last year, while active listings inventory increased slightly from the previous month and is down 2% year over year. What's your read on that?
Yeah, the thing is that you've got easily a good 35 to 40% of borrowers that have an interest rate anywhere from 2.5% to, let's say, 4.5%.
Yep.
And the issue is that if they want to buy something, it almost doubles their payment. And so what I'm seeing on social media and so on is that, look, we don't want to move until the rates go down. And consensus say that the rates are going to go down by the end of this year. And definitely what I'm seeing from everybody else, 5 or 6 different sources, about 5.5%, 6% for next year as well. So it can't come soon enough. But as you know, if those rates go down, since everybody's moving to Florida, especially Tampa Bay, then we've got an issue when it comes to inventory again. So it's where do you find that balance, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Where do you find it?
Well, these builders need to be building more. Governments need to be allowing it more and reduce some of the red tape. I think there needs to be some repurposing of the commercial buildings, commercial structures as well. And also a stat that I saw, it's interesting, that stat you had mentioned about the interest rates, but less people are listing, I think, as well, because of also 90% of Americans have an interest rate less than 6%.
Right.
So that's, to your point, is like, hey, if I do move closer to the beach, closer to grandma or the grandkids, closer to work, now I'm looking at increasing that multiplier, so that interest rate being that multiplier for every 100,000, and that's the challenge. But people are still going to do it. But new listings decreased by 7% month over month, and are down 23% compared to last year. Yeah. So listings are down, of course. The number of units sold decreased from the previous month by 14% and have declined 5% year over year. Inventory decreased. So why do you think the solds decreased month over month? Is it more of a seasonal thing due to like the end of the summer, kids going back into school?
Well, you have that year over year, but I think you've got to add another component to it. People are just waiting on the sidelines, especially the first-time home buyers.
Yeah.
Even though they are paying $2,000, $2,500 a month, it's a considerable jump if they want to buy
rent.
In a mortgage,
right? Yeah,
because the rates are in the 7.5%, 7.25%. You're talking about, let's say, from $2,500 to $3,500. That's $1,000 difference.
Aren't there some pockets though where people are still renting, paying more? Versus right. There's some pockets where you can still, even though the rates might be 6.5, whatever it is, and remember, we can also buy the rate down for you folks.
Right.
There's a lot of things we can do to get that rate a little bit payment manageable.
Correct. And my next talking point really was about the 2-1 buy down. I know we've talked about this before, but just to reiterate, a 2-1 buy down, without going into the weeds too much, it could, depending on what your price, you could save anywhere from $300 to $700 a month for the first 2 years. And the idea is that you refinance in a year when the rates go down, but it gives you some relief to actually buy now. So that's a good thing. And if you want more information, obviously reach out to me. I've got a lot of different ways, and I can show you the numbers on that. So.
Yeah, of course. Reach out to the show hotline or consumerqb.com. We'll put you in touch with Robert Paredes, Fluxx Funding. Here's another one. Sales volume decreased by 16% month over month and declined 4% year over year. So, yeah, that last part of the summer seems to be like slowing down even more. Let me ask you this: are you seeing anybody going with variable rates, saying, "Hey, I'll take the risk. Give me a 2 or 3 year balloon or interest rate here, adjustable rate mortgage"?
But the thing about it is that the interest rates on adjustable rates are not as different as your 30-year fixed right now. I mean, I could really explain that even more and go under banking geek mode for you, but the bottom line is that there's not much difference on the ARM as well.
Because long-term bonds, short-term bonds, right?
Exactly, yeah. So it's really not much of a difference. So many of your borrowers, if it's only a quarter point different, I like that 30-year fix. At least I know what my monthly is.
You might as well fix it.
Yeah.
Whereas in the past, when you didn't have this, printing of money, everything that happened that we've already seen happen.
Correct.
You had there is a discrepancy between a fixed and a variable.
That's right. Usually a 1.5-2% difference, but now it's the same, really.
And that's where it makes a lot of sense for somebody that says, "Hey, I'm only in Tampa for 2 or 3 years. I'm probably going to get. I'm with this sales firm, and they'll probably move me to San Diego.
Correct.
Whatever it might be, right? So that would be a positive point for people in that position. Here's something else to consider. If you look at the amount of commercial property in the United States and how much is at jeopardy of going delinquent, some of the estimates are very high. And then traditionally what these lenders would do, they would wait for that balloon to come up, and commercial lending's a little bit different. We're going to talk with Andrew about that coming up in the second half of the show. But something that can affect just in general here, is that they would normally be able to restructure that debt, refinance that debt, right? Now, what's happened is these bonds are not in a position, you're not in a position where you can do that because of where the bonds have gone.
Correct.
With the rising 11 or 13 consecutive raising of the rates.
You're
now.
absolutely right. Yeah, you really pay attention to that
I do a little
financially.
bit of that,
Yeah, exactly. And then, of course, nobody can seem to figure out what's going on because all the economic indicators are it's not how it used to be 4, 5, 6 years ago. You know, you've got retail up, but this down and everything. And we used to be able to guess it. When we guess it, it's easy to kind of hedge on it a little bit on the interest rates, but now nobody knows what's going on.
Right. Yeah, it's unprecedented. We haven't seen this amount of mismanagement, call it corruption. I mean, a lot of stuff happening in this world right now. It's really interesting. Here's a last one, and then we'll move on to another topic. Average days on market declined month over month, but has more than doubled since last year.
Yeah, but I mean, last year, you know, if your property doesn't go into, if it doesn't go under contract within an hour, then you know you're sweating it out, right? But now.
Yeah.
It's taking maybe a week or 2 weeks or so, but it's still pretty fast.
Yeah.
know? I remember it would take at least 30 days to typically go under market pre-pandemic stuff, which is normal, but it's still pretty fast, especially when everybody's moving to Florida, especially in Tampa as well. So.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of people moving here. Number one state in the union within migration, 319,000 net migration last year. Really awesome numbers there. And again, thanks to Governor DeSantis pulling us out of some of this, pandemic stuff that we saw happening, the lockdowns, fighting against the mandates, and of course taking on some of these woke companies. So doing a great job as a governor. I just wish he would get out of the political race and back Trump. But that's my 2 cents on that. Let's unite. We got to unite here. I think that's the key. What we need to do. All right. So we're talking with Robert Paredes here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Fluxx Funding. Robert, what are some of the other top questions that you're getting right now? What are some of the misnomers?
Well, the biggest question I'm getting right now, especially from other realtors as well, is how long is Hometown Heroes funding going to last? And they said maybe 4 to 6 weeks, and that was 2-3 weeks ago. So for anybody out there that's looking to take advantage of that 5% or $35,000 assistance, you better hurry up and go under contract because you've got to lock those funds in because they are there's talk that they're probably not going to fund it afterwards. Who knows? But you don't want to take any chance. So definitely, that's still a great program. But worst case scenario, if you can't do that, since I'm a broker, I've got a lot of different 100% financing as well. So reach out.
Awesome. Good stuff. More coming up. Robert Paredes, Fluxx Funding on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Reach out to the hotline as well, 727-263-3707. Call or text 727-263-3707. And more coming up with Robert here on the other side of the break. Also, interesting story. Regular rich are feeling poorer, and suicide is up. We're going to talk about those stories coming up here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Hey, this is Grant Cardone, and you've been listening to the phenomenal Brandon Rhymes, the Consumer Quarterback Show.
Thanks so much for spending some time with us here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Coming up, regular rich, in quotation marks, are feeling poor. We're going to talk about that story as well as suicide up. Interesting content coming. I'm going to play a clip from Charlie Kirk's show. But before we do, a couple of hot listings here. We've got a property at Pebble Creek Court in Orlando. This is another great opportunity to own land and build and develop. We've got 100 acres for sale, $13 million listing from our group, the Meraki Group in Orlando. Got a kind of a co-listing here. Prime development opportunity, excellent location for short-term rental community. Disney World, Universal, SeaWorld, downtown, just 10 minutes away. Pebble Creek Court, Four Corners, Florida. Attention developers, builders, entrepreneurs. Maybe you want to buy this land and hold on to it as a long-term investment. Pebble Creek Court, Four Corners, Florida, Osceola, and Orange County. Reach out to us. We'd love to talk to you about that property. Also got another listing at 605 Monterey Avenue. Beautiful single-family home with the pool, screened-in pool, gorgeous lanai area, and interior design is just beautiful. Nice color, cabinetry, flooring. Beautiful home here in Tampa Bay. 3 bedrooms, 2 bath, 2163 square feet, non-flood zone right here in Tampa Bay. 605 Monterey Avenue, Clearwater. And you can see all of our listings at PlatinumCoastalElite.com.
This is God's country.
All right, I want to get to this clip here real quick. Tucker Carlson Charlie Kirk had a really cool clip where he's talking about, one of the latest studies. Suicide is up. Hey, let's face it. I've seen it affect friends of friends. I've seen it affect kids at school. What could be going on? What's behind this?
They do care a lot about funding the war in Ukraine, but it should be a broader cultural issue of what the heck is going on here. I think it ties together. We have the least religious society. If you don't believe in God, that obviously increases the likelihood of wanting to end your own life. I also think that when you're surrounded by ugly things, it's awfully depressing. There is a widespread ugliness that have set into our society. Our buildings, our media, our art, our music. We do not elevate the soul. We do not challenge people to look up, to wonder. Instead, it's the opposite. Instead, it seems as if there's a lowering of the spirit. And it feels awfully intentional. But when you're surrounded by this cult of ugliness, how are you supposed to respond?
Yeah, and where are the leaders? Where are the leadership? And you look at technology, too. A lot of times these kids, they got the social shaming going on. And, oh, she wore that or he wore this. Or maybe, the naked pictures haven't gotten out. I know that was a story out of Pinellas County. But, yeah, where are we at with this? And we're the least religious society that we've been, the least religious overall as a society, living in a country that was founded on Judeo-Christian beliefs. The divinely written documents that we follow with the United States. So it's interesting to see, but where are the leaders? Where's the leadership? And what else can we be doing rather than sending money overseas to Ukraine fighting a proxy war with Russia? So anyways, that's my thoughts on that national issue. Let's bring it back to local economy here, the local economy with Robert Paredes, Fluxx Funding. Robert, I'm going to just get your comment here on this story. I printed this off of LinkedIn. So regular rich, in quotation marks, are feeling poorer. Okay, what is regular rich in general? So inflation and growing perception that real wealth requires more money now have made many regular rich people, such as doctors, lawyers, feel poor. A Bloomberg survey of Americans who earn at least $175,000 a year, so I guess that's the regular rich, a year, found that 25% felt they were not well off, while half described themselves as merely comfortable. And here's a quote: "The dissatisfaction of the mass affluent might seem like a rich person's problem, but it hints at a potential breakdown at the heart of American capitalism," writes Bloomberg. A desire to stretch incomes is driving many people to relocate and continuing to fuel a movement out of cities that began during the pandemic.
Yeah, you make a really good point there. $175,000. Try to stretch that out in New York or L.A. or San Francisco, whatever, right? $175,000, it's nothing. Yep. I remember back in the day, that's you're pretty well off, but nowadays,
in the
so
80s or early 90s,
and so nowadays everything is inflated, right? And everybody has to have 3 or 4 cars. The kids got to have their own cars. I mean, I saw one post on Facebook the other day. She got a Range Rover for college. I'm like, God, that's crazy.
Must be nice.
And I know that family, and they're working their butts off just for that, and never used to be to way.
Yeah, and it's almost like a keeping up with the Joneses thing.
Oh, exactly.
I've
hypered.
Yeah.
10 times fold.
And I got to outdo the other one or one up them, and it's ridiculous. But hey, take that 175, move to rural Alabama. Right, or I've got some friends that did that. Move to certain areas in Florida. You still get that benefit.
Or buy an investment property, for crying out loud, right?
Exactly.
Get with Brandon Rhymes and the Living on team to get an investment property instead of a car that a kid really doesn't need.
Yeah, exactly. So regular rich, I guess. So 175 around that number is regular rich, and then the ultra wealthy rich. What are the Bezoses and the Musk and the the upper elites, right? That's your top 1%.
Those folks that if they have to ask the price, they can't afford it. So it's fine.
Yeah, exactly. I remember looking at the menu growing up, or different times in my life. It's like, I'm looking at the menu from the right-hand side first. Well, I want to know what the cost is, and then I'll say, oh, maybe I'll eat that.
Yeah,
you know, right?
Yeah.
So
and there's no shame in that, man. I mean, that's when it was still real, right?
Right, exactly.
Still
I mean,
real.
exactly. Yeah, a lot of people are struggling. And that's the point of this conversation: is people are hurting, people are struggling. Our dollar's worth less. Our U.S. currency is at a potential point where we could be removed as the reserve currency for the world, Robert.
Yeah, and if you really want to tie it into real estate and mortgages, also that rent of for a two bedroom, 2-bath, nothing special, starts at $2,000. Mm-hmm. It's tough, and then okay, you want to buy a home, but it's unaffordable as well. So
insurance rates too. I mean, there's a whole nother.
Wow, I know. You've got a couple of guests here who always does insurance, and that's scary right now.
Yeah.
So.
Insurance is a challenge, you know, and it's trickling into everything. Health insurance. I just got a notice yesterday. My health insurance went up, and so not only property insurance, you got car insurances, you got all these different challenges in life. So anyways, yeah, this and I like how it said in that article. It's a breakdown at the heart of American capitalism. Yeah, because our elites and our ruling class, the uniparty, has been shipping jobs overseas for so many decades. Yeah. It's starting to catch up, pulling us off the the oil, and what Biden did. So anyways, we got about a minute left or so, Robert. I wanted to just kind of take that last minute. How can people contact you?
Sure.
What are some of your parting words of wisdom?
Yeah, you know what? I just want to say that the rates are going to get better, so hang in there with me. At the end of the day, renting sucks, right? So you still want to buy. I do want to say that what I'm seeing right now, a lot of your self-employed borrowers that can't prove any income. I'm doing a ton of those no-income loan programs as well. If you want to buy your primary home or your investment property, I have those loan programs for you. And the best way to get a hold of me, you can just call me on my cell. I'm working 8 days a week, as everybody knows, and that number is 813-300-7218. Again, 813-300-7218, and then you can email me, Robert@Fluxx, and Fluxx with 2 X's, fluxxfunding.com.
Fluxxfunding.com.
Alex always tells me, MLS number 437134.
Nice.
So I don't go to jail.
Good stuff. Yeah, hey. Yeah,
Exactly.
we do it all legal here.
Yes, sir, we do.
Yeah, we can't get away with this stuff that these guys in D.C. get away with.
Yeah,
we got to get that number out there. Let's say it again, just in case.
Sure, yes. Again, that's NMLS 437134.
There you go. Robert at fluxxfunding.com. All right. Hey, always good stuff. Good chatting with you.
Thanks for having me.
And coming up as well, hey, Tucker Carlson sat down with the Capitol Police Chief, and there was an interesting clip here that I'm going to play. 71 minutes that it took Pelosi to refuse. She refused to act and bring in the National Guard. What happened during that 71 minutes? I wonder what was behind that. Well, let's get Tucker's take on it. Coming up also, Andrew QB, U.S. Commercial and Business Capital here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Thanks for listening to my daddy's show. Please make sure to send him all of your real estate deals and subscribe to the Consumer Quarterback Show podcast on iTunes and Spotify, or check out our YouTube channel. Have a blessed day.